Okay, today we are going to learn about factoring, which is the opposite of the distributive property. So just to remind you of what the distributive property is, the distributive property is when you have to distribute the number to everything inside of the parentheses. They must be close together with no symbol in the middle, so no symbol, there's no space right here. It's just 4 parentheses or a number parentheses, so there's no space there. There is a difference between that and 4 plus x plus 8. So I want to remind you, there cannot be any symbol between the number and the parentheses. That is what distributive means. So we're going to distribute this by creating 2 new terms, well, combining the terms that are in the inside with the one on the outside. So we're distributing. So I'm distributing the 4 to the x, and I'm distributing the 4 to the 8. And that becomes 4x plus 32. Okay, I'm going to do one more just to kind of remind you. If I have 6x plus 42, oops, did that backwards. If I have 6 times x plus 7, I distribute 6 times x and 6 times 7, and that will become 6x plus 42. So what factoring does is it takes the number that's their greatest common factor back out. So instead of distributing, we are doing the opposite. We're doing the inverse of that. We're going to factor. We're going to pull out all the factors that they have that are the same. So let's look at this up here. If I look at this number and this number, I immediately notice they are both 2. So both of those 2 terms, 2x and 2, has a 2 in common. So I'm going to split it up into 2 times x and 2 times 1. Now the reason why I did that is so that I can notice, hey, they both have a 2. So I'm going to pull that back out and then leave what's left. Okay? Let's look at the next one. What do these 2 numbers have in common? If you think you know, raise your hand. Yep, hopefully you got it right. They both have a 6 in common. So our goal is to figure out if this is 6 times 1, this one is 6 times 6. So if I take one of the 6's out, factor it out, and put it on the outside right here, what I have left is 1x and the 6. So that will be x plus 6. So if I were to factor that back together, or if I were to distribute it, then I would get it back. Okay, let's try another one. What do these 2 numbers have in common? So let's split them up. Well, this is 5 times 3, and this is 5 times 1. I notice that they both have a 5 in common, so I'm going to pull the 5 out. What is left on this side is the 3 and the x. I need to bring down the minus, and then I have the 1 left over. If you think you got it, push pause now, give it a try, look at the next number, and see what you can split those into that they have in common. If you figured out that it was 7 times 1 and 7 times 7, you are in a good shape. So we're going to pull one of the 7's out. So this one's gone, this one's gone. This side is left with 1x, and this side is just left with 7. Otherwise known as 7 times x plus 1, because we do not need that 1, to be honest. All right, looking at number 5, that one might be a little bit more difficult to recognize. So I start listing the ways that I can create it. 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and 1 times 12 is pointless. So let's look at this one. 2 times 9. So they both have a 2, but can we get bigger? 3 times 6. Okay, so when I start looking at those, they have a 2 in common. You see how I made these yellow? I'll make it a little bigger so you can see it. And they also have a 3 in common. But they also have a 6 in common. When you have a situation like this, you want to pull the one out. You want to factor the one out that is the biggest number. So I am going to go with the 6. So we're pulling the 6 out. So that means I have 6 from this side. So all I have left on this side is the 2 and the x. Bring down that minus, and what I have left on this side is just the 3. I know that one is a little bit more complicated. Believe me, you're going to be looking at this again next year. But this year, we're introducing it to make sure we've got some of it. Okay, so now we have 18 and 27. I want you guys to pause and list out some factors in the classroom, and then come back and see if you got them all. I went with 2 and 9. I went with 3 and 6. This one went with 3 and 9. And I believe that's it. So the only number that these two guys had in common was the 9 and the 3. Which number do you want to go with? You want to go with the one that is bigger. Okay? So we are going to pull the 9 from both of these. So my first term has the 2 and the x left over. And my last term has just the 3 left over. Now, just to review, the reason why we're doing this is so that we can then distribute to verify that they're correct. But we'll have to see a couple of these. Well, this would then become 9 times 2x. And this one would become 9 times 3, which is 18x plus 27. All right, so at this point, we've got a few problems that we're going to practice. So you guys are going to push pause, and I want you to try number 7 and number 8 first, and then come back and check to see how you did. Okay, we're going to look at number 7. Let's see if you got it right. Hey, I noticed they both have a 5 in common. 5 times 1, 5 times 1. So all I have left is 1x and 1. Did you get it? Pat yourself on the back. Good job. Let's go to the one that's a little bit more complicated. So this guy is only 3 times 1, but this guy is 3 times 3. So that means I can pull the 3 out of both of them, and I'm left with 1x minus the leftover 3. Did you get that one right? All right, pat yourself on the back if you did. If not, you have the opportunity to try again. So here's your next two numbers, 9 and 10. I want you to try them, list out the factors, see which factors they have in common with, it's the highest, and then pull that number or factor that number out. All right, did you list your factors? This one was 2 and 6, 3 and 4. This one is 2 and 2. And 4 and 1. So in this case, if you forgot this one, there was a bigger number. So we're not using this one. It's not the biggest. We're not using this one. We're going to use the set 3 times 4. Since they both have a 4 in common, the 4 comes out. The 3 is left with the x plus the 1 that's left with the 4. Ooh, did you do that one right? Go ahead and try number 10. Number 10, listing my factors, 2 times 3, 6 times 1. Lifting my factors, 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and 6 times 6. Looks like my biggest would be 6 times 6. So I can get rid of all of these, pull out the 6, This one has a 1x left over, and it has a 6 left over. Correct way to write it would be 6 times the quantity, x minus 6. All right, try number 11 and number 12, and then come back and see how you did. Listing my factors: 2 times 4, 1 times 8. That's it. Listing my factors: 1 times 4, 2 times 2. Well, the 4 is the biggest one. So if I use the 4 and pull that 4 out, factor the 4 out, I am left with 2 that goes with the x and 1 that goes with the 4. Number 10, list your factors: 1, 10, 2, 5. 1, 100, there's going to be a lot. So let's go with 10 times 10. Obviously, we're going to go with this 10 right here and this 10 right here. So I'm pulling out the 10, the 1y left over, plus the 10 times 10 that makes 100. So the final answer is 10 times the quantity y plus 10. All right. I'm going to put a few more problems down here. Maybe write a few more on the board for you guys to do. That should have been number 12. So number 13 will be 27x plus 9. I want you to factor that. 14 would be 3x plus 42. 15 would be 8x plus 64. 16 would be 6x plus 42. 17 will be 2x plus 100. 18 would be 25x plus 175. When you get these finished, show them to your teacher. I will do my best to put the answers up there so that you guys can have them.